Ask yourself who panned the camera upwards when the astronauts launched off from the surface of the moon. We did not have object tracking technology built into cameras in 1969. No, we probably had it before then. Yeah, it would be a good idea to know that. My uncle made this. Made one like it. I believe that it's, yeah. His manufacturing made it. I'm probably the design was made by people in the Pentagon, and then they had him build it. So, and this was the box that carried the moon rocks back in. Okay? So, you want to believe this narrative, then you don't even understand where how advanced the technology is. I have no reason to make any of that. Like, I'm not a grifter. I'm none of that. I have no reason. So you would literally have to think that our government, who steals all of our money pretty much, that seems to have an obsession with money too, literally went to a manufacturing plant in Indiana back in those days, a manufacturing plant that my uncle owned, and said, and he had contracts with us with doing shields for the space shuttle, and the government did all that just to say it's a lie. That's not common sense. 2012. The Chinese are planning on going to the moon. I hope they stop and take a look at our flag that was put there 43 years ago, at Mitt Romney. 2019. For all the money we are spending, NASA should not be talking about going to the moon. We did that 50 years ago. They should be focused on the much bigger things we are doing, including Mars, of which the moon is a part. Defense and science. Now, this would then bring in, is this really what's all about going to the moon, or Mars? Because he's saying that the moon is part of Mars. So we went there. Here's why. This is why. The moon is a natural satellite. Communication. Let me tell you about it, because this has been around for a while. That's probably what they were doing on the moon. So we went to the moon. Let's see. And then this would be why Trump is talking about Mars a lot. So first of all, Mars, moon is considered Earth's only natural satellite, meaning it wasn't put there by man. Moon itself. As far as this goes, Mars has had a long history providing worldwide auxiliary emergency communications during times of need. The Combined Two-Service Mars program, which is the Army and Air Force, volunteer force of over 3,000 dedicated and skilled amateur radio operators, provide the backbone of the Mars program. The main benefit of Mars membership is enjoying the amateur radio hobby through an ever-expanding horizon of Mars service to the nation. Mars members work by the slogans, proudly serving those who serve, and proud, professional, and ready. And it's, so Mars is the acronym. The organization ultimately experienced both success and failure. The Army Amateur Radio System succeeded in developing the proficiency of its radio operators, as demonstrated by the support provided to local, state, and federal authorities during natural disaster relief efforts. However, on the eve of the United States entering into World War II, the Army Amateur Radio Systems, which is what it used to be called, the Army Amateur Radio Systems membership was significantly underdeveloped in numbers to provide significant manpower to augment the Signal Corps mobilization for war. The AARS organization continued to operate until the United States' entry into World War II on December 7, 1941, at which time radio amateurs were denied the use of the airwaves, and the amateur service and the Army Amateur Radio System were deactivated. Following World War II, the U.S. Army recognized the importance of reactivating the AARS to train vitally needed communication personnel at a relatively low direct cost to government, and in 1946 the AARS was reactivated. The AARS functioned as such until the creation of the Military Affiliate Radio System, MARS. In November 1948, with the establishment of separate Army and Air Force MARS programs reflecting the creation of the Air Force as a separate service, in 1948, Captain Robert L. Garberty selected the use of the acronym MARS, the Roman god of war, as a fitting name for the post-World War II rebirth of AARS as the Military Amateur Radio System. The program's name was changed to MARS on September 2, 1952, in recognition of the organization's changing nature with the growing number of civilian volunteer members. Eventually, the Navy Corps MARS program was established officially on the 17th of August, 1962, and began operations on the 1st of January, 1963. This followed the Cuban Missile Crisis and President Kennedy's concern for viable and extended communication capabilities. MARS provides a Department of Defense-sponsored emergency communications on a local, national, and international basis. MARS also provides auxiliary communications for military entities only. One major mission that MARS has had for many years is to handle morale, welfare, and official record and voice communication of traffic for armed forces and authorized U.S. government civilian personnel stationed throughout the world. MARS establishes programs to create civilian interests, recruit qualified volunteers, and furnish training in military communications techniques and procedures. Every year, MARS conducts an appropriate military and amateur radio cross-band exercise as an integral part of the annual Armed Forces Day. They provide reserve of personnel trained in military radio communication techniques and procedures, as well as to initiate efforts in other trainings. So you see, even though we did go to the moon, it wasn't just about getting rocks. It's about setting up satellite communication. And the moon, the God-given celestial body, the moon, that God gave us, well, it's a natural satellite. So, we went there.